Okay, so here we go. I'm going to show you how to thread the Peerless sewing machine that we just discovered is a clone of the Singer 15. You can also find generic manuals for these on the internet. Once you place your spool on the spool pin, come to this first thread guide, and then we're going to come down to the tensioner. I'm going to reposition the phone so we can see that better. I hope I won't make anybody dizzy in doing this, and I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit tighter here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so once we're in that first thread guide, I'll scoot you around just a little bit this way. We're going to go into the tension disc, coming around to the front, and we're going to go behind right here. I'm going to hold the thread. I'm going to come underneath this metal piece right here. Okay. I'm going to scoot you around to the front so you can see that a little better. So the thread has gone between the tension disc, under the bottom, went underneath, and is now coming off over the top at this point right here. I'm going to take the thread to the right-hand side of this wire that looks like a number 9, and I'm going to slip it to the left, and you'll see in doing that, it's put it into that check spring. We're going to come up a little bit, so I'm going to reposition again so you can see that. So from the upper tension, we're coming up to the take-up lever, and it's going to thread from back to front. Make sure you don't get things wrapped around that tension disc at the bottom. I'll zoom you out so you can see that. And we're going to go back down again so we can see a little bit more here. Maybe we can see a fairly good bit of all that there. Now it's going to come into this little loop from the front to the back. So I pushed front to back. And then the last little bit that you have is right above the needle. So I'm going to back out a little bit so you can see it. So what we've done is first guide, tension disc, behind the little mark right there, behind this, come over to the right-hand side of the number 9 and slip to the left. That puts it there. Then we've threaded from left to right on the take-up lever, and we've put the thread here from front to back. Just push it through there. It'll catch in that guide. The needle itself is got a little guide right before it. It threads from right to left. Now the needle on this machine is a classic, just standard type needle that you can get at most sewing shops. This particular one is a Smith's that I'm using. It's a style or a system number 130/705H. That tells the length and the size of this needle. Is something you can commonly find. Once you know the needle system for your machine, then you would choose the appropriate size needle for the thickness of fabric that you're working on, as well as the tip of the needle. The needle's inserted so that the flat side is to the inside of the machine. So that makes us threading it from left to right. At this point, you can lower the presser foot to get a little bit more clearance around that needle area. And you may find that you might need to trim your thread at an angle so that you can thread your needle. There are other needle threaders that are available to help you thread your needle. Today I'm having a pretty good day with my eyesight, and I've got a real good bright table lamp here that I'm using as well. So I'm going to scoot the machine around more straight on at us. And I'm going to raise that bobbin thread. I'm going to lift the lid here on where the bobbin is at, just so I don't want to have any resistance on bringing this up. I'm going to turn the hand wheel towards us. One rotation all the way around, needle up, needle down. Give a little pull, and you'll see that loop that's come up is your bobbin thread. Be sure and catch both the upper and the lower thread in between the toes of your presser foot. I like to usually do a little quick test sew on a scrap of fabric just to make sure everything's threaded good and that my tension's all right. I'm going to back off here just a minute so you can see a little bit more of the machine. On this one, of course, your tensioner is out at the end and you would adjust it appropriately for your project. This one is just set for using the Coats & Clark's all-purpose thread. Other threads might require it either to be loosened or tightened a bit more. And this particular lever, well, if it's pushed all the way up, will sew reverse. If it's pushed to one of the markings, it would sew X number of stitches to the inch. The dial here also would lock it in so that if you reversed and returned, you would return back to your preset stitch length. So now that I've got the thread brought up, I'm just gonna go ahead and step on the gas and hear how we sew. I'm gonna have to scoot it a little bit closer to the edge of my cabinet here, or my work area. Get some slack on my foot controller here. I'm just going to sew so you can hear how this machine is. It cleaned up really nicely. It has the original motor and it's just sewing really nicely. I'm going to reverse sew, so I've pushed that lever up. To remove your work from the machine, always remember to bring your needle in its highest position. And let's take a look at our stitching. Very pretty. It's been fun working on these. I hope this videos may have helped someone else who may be trying to learn how to use a vintage machine. There's a lot of pretty ones out there, and again, it was a pleasure working on this one. Hope y'all have a good day. Bye.